Okay, in that other option, just click on that MySQL console. Okay, there are numerous ways you can work with MySQL. Something like Workbench is also available for you guys. Okay, if you install everything solely, then there are numerous ways you can work with. Okay, this is simply I just installed the environment. Okay, if you install with environment, then it is easy way you can go with the MySQL console. Just click on that MySQL console. Okay, it will ask for us a valid username. By default, it is root. Okay, just click a OK on that. And since I have not given any password into my system, what I do is simply I'll press enter since I don't have any password. Okay, fine. So now I have a MySQL. Okay, there is a little differences between MySQL working style MySQL as well as Oracle. The way you can enter the command of SQL. Okay, here in Oracle, you need not to create a separate database in order to create the tables. Okay, everything will be created within a system databases. It's a default way you can work with an Oracle Enterprise Edition. But in MySQL, if you want to create any table, it should be belongs to some database. Okay, first you have to create a databases. You can check it out. What are the databases are there in your system by entering show databases. It is similar like select star from tab. What we have done in Oracle. Okay, show databases. If I execute this, you can check it out what are the databases available in my local database server. There are multiple databases are there. Okay, in my local database server. Okay, let us come to the one point by point. The point is first thing is we want to create a database called CSE5B. For our reference, we are going to consider it as a CSE5AB. Okay, we are going to create a table called CSE5AB. Okay, so in order to create a database, first as I told that create a database, and our database name is what CSE5AB. Okay, 5AB. Okay, so we have created now database. So semicolon means end of the line. It means that now I have created this database. Now I have a CSE5AB. You can check it out. So if I check the databases available, now one more new entry has come here, that is CSE5B. Okay. Now in order to work on this database, what you have to do is you have to come within the database. For that sake, what you have to do is you have one more command called use and database name, that is CSE5AB. Okay. So if I done that, now entirely I am in CSE5AB. Okay. So you can check it out what are the tables are available in the CSE5AB by including show tables. Okay, now I don't have any tables. Okay, so that's why just it's showing empty set. Fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to create one table. So these are my requirements of this table. That is table name is student. Okay, student, and have a lot of attributes are there. Where student ID is the primary key and date should be the data type of date time. Okay, so all these things I'm going to consider. I'm going to create it. Okay, so you know how to create a table. There is no differences in this. So for all SQL, the way of creating table is same. Okay, my table is student. Okay, so after that, so what is my first attribute? That is student ID, right? Student ID. Okay, my first attribute is student ID underscore ID, and I'm going to consider the data type integer. Okay, and this is my primary key. Okay, this is my primary key, and what I do is for the sake I'm going to make it as an auto increment. Okay, make it as an auto increment. Okay, auto increment. It starts with some 20, 26 or something like that. Okay, so this is my first line. Okay, it's my primary key as well as it belongs to data type integer. Okay, And the next line is going to create one more attribute. This attribute is nothing but student name. Name. Okay, fine. Student underscore name. Okay, and I am going to consider varchar data type of maximum 20 characters. I'm going to choose. Okay, 30 characters. I'm going to choose. Okay, and this is not done. Okay. Next, I'm going to create one more, that is email address. And just I'm going to use it as email, and it is also varchar. Okay, varchar. 50 characters. Okay, again not none. So it means that you cannot leave, simply leave it. Okay, not none. Next, I'm going to use contact, and again with varchar. Okay, so I'm going to use some 20 characters for this. Okay, again not none. I want any to simply leave it null values. Okay, next I'm going to use gender. Okay, again it is with varchar. Okay, so for this maximum 10 characters. Okay, again not none. It should be mandatory values. Okay, next I'm going to use country. Varchar. Okay, so I'm going to use some 15 character length. Again not. Okay, next date time. So I'm going to use it as date time. That date data type is date time. Okay, so what I do is it is simply not null. Okay, and by default I will give with present time. Okay, whenever some student is created, right, that value I'm going to consider default current timestamp. Okay, current time stamp. If you are not given, the automatic value it is going to take is whatever the present time is there with respect to your system, that value it is going to consider. Okay, I think I have created all the attributes timestamp. Okay, just close this and I'll execute this. Okay, not null default. Okay, no problem with us. So I have some error. Syntax check the manual that corresponds. Okay, 26 here. Auto increment. Leave that auto increment. What I do is I just copy and paste again. This is the problem here. But I will only give the value. No problem with that. I think I have created one table. You can check it out. What are the tables? Show tables. Okay. So there is a table called student. Okay. I want to insert some values into my student. At least I am going to insert 3 values here. Insert into student. Okay. Student. So values. Okay. The first thing is one I'm going to give and student name. Okay. ABC I'm going to give. Okay. And email address. This abc@gmail.com. Okay. Next, have a contact. Contact is better, right? So I'm going to keep it in a Okay, this is my content. Okay, now one more is there like gender, right? Gender. Next country, right? Okay, next date time, right? Simply I leave as it is like that. So by default, it is going to take that value. Okay, another white. So what I have done that let us check this. To student values. Okay, how many counts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'll give some time. I'll explain how default will work. Okay. So you can give like this. By default, the timestamp you can give like this. 20. So what's the month today? It's 11, right? And the date is 03. Okay. And present time is what? So it's very important how you can give the value for the timestamp. Okay. So present time is 2022. So 10, 22, and whatever the seconds. Okay. This is complete value you can give it for the date and date time. Year. Okay. Month, day, okay, and time, minutes, and seconds. So that you need to remember. Okay. Let us insert this. I think I don't have it. Okay, everything is fine. Does not match count at row one. What is that? So it is student. Okay, no problem. Student name, worker. Okay, worker. Default student class one. Okay, I missed the comma. Okay, that's why I'm getting this error. Just copy and paste it here. Okay, so one row is inserted. Okay, little modification with respect to this. Okay, little modification. This is ACAD. Okay, at gmail.com. And I'm going to copy the same values and I'm going to paste it. So I think two values are there. You can check it out. Select start from two range. The value present in your table. Okay. From and it is right. So the two values I have. Okay. Now, so the first aspect is complete. There is anybody else? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. That's completed now. Okay. So everything is completed now. Okay. So we have created a database called 5AB and we have created a student with some of the attributes as a primary key and also some used attribute called date time of data type date time, and I showed you how we can insert the values for date time. Okay, so I inserted two tables. Now what we are going to create a page for a database connectivity operation now. The second thing is what we are going to do is, so anyhow we have data in our backend. Okay, now you don't the data in backend. Before that, I think everybody has copied that file, right? If we that have, right? So all of you have information of this. Okay. So okay, there are a lot of files I have given with. Okay, first I'll come one by one. So simply I'm going to use some of the concept called MEC concept. Know that what exactly means model view controller, but don't go deep in that. Okay, that will take of the other. I'll explain in some other time. Okay, so what exactly how model view controller will work. So now what it will do is it will exactly abstract the way we are going to develop our application. If you work with model view controller, okay, it's similar like a framework. Okay, we can abstract each and every method. We cannot bring everything in a single file. We are going to build an application. It will be confusable, and we cannot reuse the code. Right? Now to make very easy way, you can make use of reusable code, and you want to abstract your work in a different level, whether it may be level, whether it may be a model like database level, or whether it may be connecting level, that is controller level. So the standard way you can develop an application using any core technologies, whether it may be PHP or Python or Java or .NET. So we have something called MEC, that is model view controller way. You can utilize that type of framework in order to develop application. The thing is, you can make reuse the available code, okay, and also you can abstract the working nature of the environment. Okay, so that is, and also if you you know where exactly you can easily go and debug it. Okay, so and abstraction is always happens in three different layer. Okay, maybe happens in view level or with respect to model or maybe with respect to control level. So what I'm shared with you, this is not exactly MEC, but it is almost MEC like a structure. Okay, we have spread model and controller and view involved in a single file. Okay, so three level different level of abstractions are there in our application environment. So some folder wise. Okay, I have given some folder called assets. Okay, I have given some folder called assets. Okay, this folder, see nowadays, as I told that when you are working with any applications, it is better to abstract your files also. Okay? And it is better to keep in a standard structure so that it will be easy way to get communicate the files. Okay, you cannot simply put everything in a single file and simply leave your file to get the map of that. And if you are not assigned with standard structure, then anybody can easily break your system, and there may be a lot of security features. Okay, you can compromise with. Okay, it is better way if you store your files in a standard structures. So what I do here, whatever the user interface things are there, whether it, whatever some images it may be I want to share with, I want to show in my pages, or I want to unify my user interface. Okay, standard. Okay, please somebody switch off your mobile. Please mute your mobile. Sorry. Okay. So that's what. If you want to become a good programmer, you must know first how to store your or how to organize your files. Okay. So please provide a different level of abstraction in order to organize your files. So what I did here is in this file, what I'm shared with you. So all user interface things I have shared and I have organized in a folder called assets. Okay. Here is a folder called images. Okay. Something like images. Okay. And have one more file called style sheet. Okay. This is based on Cascade style, that is CSS program. So you can check it out. Sorry, why I have done that. Okay, you can check it out. This is the style sheet provided you guys. Okay, So you can modify it. It based on your requirement. Okay. So this is just like how you want your body of your page should look like. Okay, what are the background color you want to show with respect to your pages? What are the foreground color you want to show with your pages? So how a header should be there, and what is the size of your header, and what is the size of your footer? Okay. So what about your navigation style? Okay. So what happens if I go to a device like desktop? Or what happens if I go to the device like mobile? Okay, what is the maximum pixel rate that can cover with? Okay, everything with respect to how your user interface into your application. Okay, how you want to interact with a client. Okay, so you can exhibit using any uh, technologies like CSS, JavaScript, and HTML5. Okay, so these are some already defaultly provided thing I have given to you. You can remodify it, no problem. Okay. So I will show how you can do it, remodification and all. So fine. Let us come to here now. So my aside folders consist of everything with respect to user interface. And I have one thing called class. Okay. So I have created one PHP file. This is what nothing but it is my model. Okay, this is my model. All necessary models are created in this folder. Okay, including even the database connectivity thing. Everything I'm going to connect here, and also the model necessary for my application. Models are nothing but these are like queries. Okay, you want to interact with your applications. So these are the PHP way you can connect with a. This is like embedding SQL with respect to PHP. So using this, you will connect contact with your database, and you will fetch the information from the database, or you can even post the information into the database. You can do all necessary information using these type of models. Okay, I'll just open this model first. So this is very okay. From Kelisalva. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಬರ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಎರರ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಈಗ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ರೀಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನದ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಇದೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರದ್ದು ಯಾಕೆ ಹಿಂಗಾಯ್ತು? So am I audible now? Okay, ma'am. Okay, fine. So few people have not refreshed. That's why it's showing me that no audio for them. Okay. So tell others if they are not, if it is not audible for, tell them to page. Fine. You have come back. Okay. Fine. So I have created some sort of model. Okay. So model, I'm to communicate my database with the front end and PHP pages. Okay. So as I already told you, I have opened this file. Okay. See, when you are working with this application, the way you can connect with the database is almost like whether you are working with MAC style or whether you are working with simply from scratch without any framework style, or if you are working with any framework like whether it may be Laravel, CloudIgniter, or Symfony, or whatever it is, the API you are going to use in order to connect your database into your front end in a PHP is only one API. That API is nothing but SQLite. Okay, this is the API you are going to use in order to connect your database into the front end through PHP. Okay, the API is nothing but MySQLite. So by defaultly, when you install WAMP server, automatically this API will be installed into the system. So which connects your database into the front through PHP. Okay, that Apache will understand this, and using this particular API, it will know okay where I have to connect with and what are their authorization. Okay, so if data is there, I'm ready to fetch the data. That is what this API is going. Okay, so for creating a database connection into a PHP file, the latest MySQL to the MySQL DBMS, the latest MySQL API is what MySQLite. Okay, it is going to take four parameters. This API is going to take four parameters. The first parameter is server name. Okay, first parameter is server name, and the second parameter is username. Third parameter is password. The fourth one is database name. Okay, so four parameter it is going to take. Let us come to first. What I'm doing is I'm going to create a connection. Okay, where I'm going to connect the connection to my server and my database, and I'm going to put authorization like username and password. Okay, so the API you are all know now. The API MySQL, and it is going to consider four attributes. Okay, so let us uh, give the values to these attributes. Okay, my server is local. So if your database is staying in your server way staying, even in the same place, if your database is staying in the server name you have to give this local. Okay. So when you are working with respect to cloud environment, also if you install or if you're hosting websites or web application in even in cloud or hosting providers or wherever it may be, check out whether your database is in the same place and your server is also staying in the same place. If everything is in the same place, then you need to give any IP address here. Better you just give it as a local host. Have you got it? So why we have to give local host in server name? Okay, irrespective of programming language I am speaking here. Irrespective of whether it may be Python, whether it may be even Java, whatever it is. When you are going to localhost, when your server and database server both are residing in the same location, then you have to localhost. Allahu, got it? I need reply from your side. Fine, fine, fine. Okay. Next, I'm going to give some value to the database name. What is the database name I have given? What is the database name? That is CSE 5AB, right? CSE 5AB. So the database name I have given is, see, Vishal, a student is just a table, okay? So that belongs to CSE 5AB database. So the database I have created CSE 5AB. Okay, and username, I know that. Password, I know that. What is the password we have given? What is the password? Password is no password, right? Nothing we have given. That's good. That's good. Okay. So now I just given values to this variables. Okay, my variable value called localhost and my database name variable. So this is the way you can create a variable in Python. Okay, this is the way you can create a variable in Python. So PHP, and PHP is an object-oriented program. I know everything should be looks like a class environment. Okay, everything should be looks like a class environment. So you need not to explain the object-oriented concept here. Okay, so this is the way you can create a variable. Just give some name and send with dollar symbol. That's nothing but a variable in PHP. Okay, so for server name, I have assigned with value localhost. We know that why we have given localhost here. And since my database also I created in my system and server is also running in my own system, so that's why it's localhost. Okay, now database name. So the database we have created is CSE5IP and the username is root and the password is nothing we have given. Okay, now the API will be passed with all these four values, and if that database exists in my local host, then it is going to create a connection and the connection will be established in my variable called CONN. Okay, if it is not there, I am going to pass some exception, that is, okay, I am unable to find that particular database. I am unable to find some server in this local host. I am unable to find with the authorization details. Okay, if anything happens, so I am going to get some message called connection failed. So this is nothing but this is an exception is going to be raised if my SQLite fails to return some value into my connection. Okay. So fine. Now, so these are the things you need to consider. This is only this much is enough for connecting my database into a PHP site. Okay, into a PHP site. The only thing you need to use is the only way. Normally we call this API is a basic connection. Okay, the API name is MySQLite. Okay, and it comes with four parameters. You know what are the values you have to give for the four parameters. And this API is completely depends on DBMSs. For Oracle, I have separate API. For PostgreSQL, I have a separate API. For SQL Server, I have a separate API. For SQLite, I have a separate API. For MySQL, if you see anything called MySQL high in your PHP application, that means that, okay, so this is the API I need to use in order to create the connection to the existing database. Okay. So that's what the second aspect we have completed now. So this is completed, right? Now we are connected. Okay, we have connected. Let us check. Let us check whether we have connected or not. How to run my application? Okay, I want to see whether it is connected or not. Okay, I want to check it out whether it is running or not. Okay, so my application is there. Let us take. This is my logo, and I have created something called simple PHP app. Okay, this is where my application is running. Just simply click on that folder. Simply click on that folder. Okay. Okay. So this is not the application where I have created. 1 minute. Just I'll come to this. Okay. I have not saved, right? Still I have not saved. Okay. First save this file. I have little modified and I'm going to save. Okay. Now the everything is saved. Now I'm going to execute. Okay. So this is my application. Now I'm going to execute. Okay, I think little error is there in my case. I'll check out what is my error. Okay. Okay, non-object. So now I think, see, it is going to grab some information and the name of the file is different. That's why it means that you can easily see my database is connected. If I pass some wrong information, for example, uh, instead of creating CSE 5AB, what I do is I'm going to pass the database name as CSE. Okay. Okay. So I can check it out whether CSE is there or not. Okay. So is there any database called CSE is there? Yeah. No. Okay. It means I'm passing my system with the wrong database. Let us check what happens now. Okay. I'm going to save this. Okay, I'm going to execute this. Let us come back and again execute. This is my application, right? I'm going to click this. See, I'm going to get an error called unknown database. See, this is the exception I'm going to get it. So see, the connection failed here. Connection failed. When it is going to get a connection failed here. Okay. So if I provided the correct information and if the databases exist, it is going to connect into my system. Okay. Let's check by giving a correct values, that is 5AB. Okay. This is what my database. I'll just come here and refresh my page. See, now I think my database is corrected. Find it. Okay. There is no error at all. Okay. No error at all. So this step is completed now. Okay. We have created PHP page in order to connect the database operations. Okay. Now next thing is we have to create a page to view the data in student base. Okay. See, whenever if you are working with the PHP applications, the first and foremost file it is going to execute it is index.php. Okay. The first file is going to execute is by defaultly index.php. If you have specified uh, uh, some other page, you can even specify it, no problem in that. So, okay, by defaultly, whenever you're working with any web related things, check it out. You have a home page given with index, something like index.php or index.html. Okay, that's the a door to your application. Okay, let us open this. This is my door, right? Uh, this is my door. Okay. So, I simply for the sake of understanding, I just organize my work. Let us delete everything. This is my home page. Okay, I just organized my work. Okay, organized my work. So what I've done is initially there should be something called editor.php. Okay, so the first file it is going to execute is index when it open before executing all this view. Okay, all this view, the first file within the index.php is running is what header.php. What I've done is instead of creating header thing in every file separately, what I've done is I have created, since I know that for my application the header is always same for all and all pages. So that's why I am going to abstract it, okay, by creating necessary information what I have to show in my header thing in a separate file called header.php. Okay. Like that. So the necessary information I want to display in a footer section, I have created in a separate file called footer.php. Okay. So I need not to give each and every pages with separate information of header and separate information of footer. Only this is the way you can organize your work. Okay. Let us come to this header.php. So what I have done with this header.php. Okay. So it is very simple. Okay. In header.php, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a database connecting. Okay. Since I need database connectivity features, so that's the thing important for me because it is my application and I'm working with the existing data. This is a dynamic thing, okay, dynamic website. So I'm to update or manipulate the data in my database, right? So for this, see, it's a dynamic. I need to write connectivity of a database in each and every file of each. Okay. For that sake, what I've done is I've created that thing in a separate file and I just included in a header since it is needed in each file. Okay. So this is how you can include that file. Create where I have provided the connectivity to into where database. Okay, database where it is a folder class. Okay, so this is the regular expression what we are using in PHP. No, use regular expression in where in what you say that Python. Okay, okay. So and I already told that the style sheet I'm going to use. Okay, for beautifying my see. This is the title we are going to keep in website. So what we do is this is a CC file AP okay, web PHP application. This is the title I'm going to give. And these are all HTML file. Okay, you need not to worry about this. These are all HTML files. You know, there are a lot of tags are there. Okay, so no need of explanation of others. In order to link any style sheets or something like that, so the tag you are going to use is link sheet link and provide the URL of that thing, and you have to tell the type of file it is. Okay, it should be a style sheet or something like HTML pages or some other pages. Okay, so two important files I'm using. One is bootstrap file. Okay, I'm directly getting that bootstrap file through internet. Okay, so since file is already available in the cloud, okay, instead of storing locally in my system, but just since we know that web application always work through an internet. Okay, we are not going to create any web applications for the sake of local running, right? We always try to grab the data through internet. So it is better instead of holding the same file in your local base, you better to connect with the cloud system. Okay, you can even better you can download that and you can put it in your local system also as it is like this. Since I have we have put it in a separate folder, like that also you can get that bootstrap file and you can put it in the local system. Then what you have to do is you have to give the link like this. Okay, so you will going to this bootstrap.css in a assets. Okay, instead of giving the entire URL thing, you have to put this. Okay, so now this is what header is in my case. I'm going to include necessary style sheets. Okay, and the information, some of the information that is header information. Okay, where header I'm going to share some logo. Okay, uh, so this is my logo I'm utilizing logo for. I'm going just check it out. What is my logo 41 is doing? Okay, logo 41.png. Okay, this is what my logo. Okay, now what I do is simply I'll get some other file and I'm going to include it. Mm, I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to paste it here. So this is my logo. Okay, now this is my logo. So okay, so now just I have changed the file. You can check it out now. If I run this, okay, you can see my application name is also changed. Okay, let us save the file first. Save this. You can check it out now. The title is going to be changed, and even the logo is also going to be changed. Okay, see now the title is changed, even the logo is also changed. Okay, Department of CSC, something like that, and everything is there. Now I want to get a value from the student table into this. Okay, so this is what header is going to do. Okay, and these are the views I have created. So I want to show values of name, email, contact, gender, and action, something like that. Okay, I'm going to grab it from some table. that is student list. This is my model. So what I've done is I have created separate models. Are you getting right what I'm explaining? If you have doubt, you can ask me a questions there. Are you following right? No issues? Yeah, then fine, fine. Very good, very good. I'll just come to here. So now, see here, I told that I have created all my modules here only. Okay, all my models here only in student. Okay, I have created few models here. One is student list. Since I'm going to get all the necessary information from student table here. Okay, and I'm going to assign into a separate function called student list. Okay, whenever I'm going to use this model for student list, it will have very cell start from it is student, right? I have student and order student ID, so ascending order. Okay, ascending order. And this is the SQL query, and I am passing to this connection. Okay, once I pass this SQL query to this connection, it is going to fetch some values from the database. The value should be stored in variable. Okay, now my result variable consists of all what is nothing but select star from tab order. Sorry, student. Okay, so wherever students is there, I'm going to modify it as students is there. I'm going to modify it as students. Okay, see here also one more model I have created, that is whenever I just create an is going to update values to the database. So for that I have created a query called insert into student, and all necessary uh, values I'm going to pass. Okay, so through these variables, this is how you can work with insert. You can check it out. The command is same. Okay, here whatever the values comes to into this variable, that value directly will pass. Okay, that value directly will pass. Okay, so you got it right. By default I have given a local timestamp, so I'm getting the value from the PHP file. Okay, and I'm going to store that value into a separate variable and use that values in order to insert into my student table. This model, what it will do is whenever I create a new student, okay, so it grab the data from the front end, and the grab data is very important. How they are giving the values. Okay, so let us come to the create table. I'll understand a little bit. Okay, this is the page I used in order to provide user with an interface so that he can create a student information direct web pages. Okay, so in this thing, so the name of a variable is very important. Okay, name of a variable is very important. So whatever the ID you have given here, the same ID you have given here in order to get the values perfectly. All of you get it? In order to get the value perfectly. Okay, since I have not given auto increment of what static auto increment I have not given. So what you have to do is I am going to have one more column here called student ID. Okay, so this is student ID. Okay, student ID, and everything is same here. Simply I'm going to use this function. Okay, and I'm going to paste it here. So I'm going to create one more thing called variable ID, student ID here. Okay, so here since student is not inserting, right, what I'm doing is just modifying it here. Okay, so the value should be student ID. Okay, that is dollar student ID. Okay, so
Sir, your screen is still showing the PHP header page. I think you have not moved or screen shared.
okay, now also it's working like that only.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it is not showing that modifying things what I have done with student model.
No, sir.
Okay,
Maybe it's only my problem. Apparently, it's working for others. Sorry.
Others, whatever the modification I have done with the create student info, is it visible? Okay, okay. Only I think Sumedha, you face that thing. Sumedha, is it visible now? Only one modification I have done here. That is, since I have not created student ID with auto increment, so if it is not auto increment means it's a primary key, right? So it's supposedly I have to enter the value, then only it will work. Okay. So that's why I have created a variable called student ID, and I'm whatever the data I have inserted in content, I'm going to get that, and I'm going to insert here. Okay. Okay, refresh it, Sumedha. It may work fine for you. Since I have added one parameter here, that is student ID. Okay, so even here also I have to add it, right? So what I do is I am going to create one more label. Okay, so the entire I'm going to copy it, and here itself I am going to create it. Here, is not a problem in PHP. Okay, you can create it whatever the indentation you will wish to. Okay, so this is nothing but ID. I'm just going to grab it. Okay, so this is the view I am doing. This is student ID. Okay, so this is just a label, and this is very important. The variable name and the ID what we are giving, the same value give it in the model. Okay, okay. This is the view what I have done, and the controller is it is going to grab the data here. The controller written here. This is my controller. Okay, this is my controller. Okay, in this controller I am writing this view. Okay, student ID. Okay, so and everything is fine now. So data it will enter back into model, and once I have a value, it is going to insert into this SQL. Okay, and it's going to run it, and it's going to show me a message called successfully created. Let us save this work. Okay, let us save this work. So I have done little more, and wherever I have a student, you make it as a student. Okay, since the table I have created is not student, right? And even update, even update also. Let us you just work with the creation and update. Okay, so run this. Okay, now if I refresh it, you can check it out. Uh, what is it? Unexpected in where 41 line. Line 41. Okay. Okay. All this. Okay, still I have a little error. What is it? Undefined index email address in index to index. Okay, little problem with the email. Is that one also. We have our here and what line and line number, right? Email address. Okay, what have given there to list everything with email address, right? Address. Okay, we have given what? I think email, right? Everything is same. Only thing is give an email. T1. So you're only on. Index 31. So this is email. Okay. So I'll execute this. So now just got the data from my database. Okay, you can check it out. So I have connected my API to my database. So you can check your user interface. You can give different colors into your user interface. Just see, check it out. Where actually what happens if I just modify it? You can see even the black color, right? You can remodify. You can give color something like that. Okay, so this is my border color. Better you just select the navigation bar, and the background color is black. You can make it as whatever the color you wish. Okay, just first inspect it. Okay, if you like that colors, or if you for your report, then you just modify it into your CSS file. That's how you can debug and you can give beautifulness based on your interest. Okay, so this is the easiest way you can work with your user interface. If you just solve by inspecting it, size and everything. If you like that, you just add it to the permanent file. That's what you have to do. So the modification, what I've done is, this is through browser, right? It is just like what I say, it's a temporary. Okay, if I refresh it again back into the previous level. Okay, so this is how you can do it. You can check it out all necessary information here by inspecting it. Okay, you can do modification whatever you wish. Once you can reapply the same thing where you have done the modification into the style.css. That's how you can give a beautifulness in your user interfaces. Okay. Uh, Sir, for you or for everybody, the screen is frozen. So what about others? Is it visible? Working, fine, fine. Okay, okay, okay. You just refresh it, sir. When you have this type of, just refresh your browser. Okay. So now you know that how can you modify your user interface. First, what you are doing is select where you want to do modification or different thing you want to edit. Okay. Click on the left click on it and the respect to where you can just if you want to that HTML postcode, it show where that marking thing show where what in your interface. See, this completely things means it's a navigation bar. You can check out the code that's written for that bar. See, these are the code. If you need some more values, you can add and you can see the modification. Since I already told that for CSS and HTML and JavaScript browser, it is a compiler. If you do modification to your CSS or HTML file, it reflects here itself. Okay. See, I can even change color of the fonts, whatever the colors you can mention. So you just choose one color. You like and you directly to your CSS file, like here. Go to CSS file. So you just edit it. Okay. So here I just modify thing in a class body, in a class called body. So go to called body. Okay. Class body. Searching it. So this is a class body. So here I don't have a. I can check out one more thing. Okay. So I think this one is inherent from where it's a bootstrap. Okay, this is not belongs to my local thing. It belongs to bootstrap. Suppose if you want to do modify your bootstrap file, then also it is possible. Means you can check the view force. Okay. You just save it into your local system. Okay, I'm going to save it into my local system. So where to right? I'm www and the in to store this. Okay. And what doing in data file, I just want I don't want the cloud. I want the local file. Okay, I want the local file. What you do is you just copy this and you just paste here up to this. Paste it here. So now I am not taking the value from the cloud itself, file from my local system. Okay, so just I'm going to save it. Again, you can check it out. If I refresh this, you'll get the same output. Okay, you can check it out. See, still I'm going. I want to change the color of this font mesh. As I told that, you just click button. Okay, you can go with here. You can check it out. So in my body, I have a called. I want to change it as a green color. Okay, I'm going to copy this color code and I'm going to modify it now into my local system file. This is my local system, right? So everything is hidden. Again, here they have done this. What is these people are doing? They have put everything. Okay, I'll come to your body part. So this is my body part, right? So only thing I have to change is my color, right? Okay, I'll just find the next thing. Okay, here the color initially was black. I'm going to change it into green. Since I have copied the color code, I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so my color code is changed now. I will save this file. See, now you can check it. Initially it was in brown color, right? You can refresh. See the output in green color. So that's the way you can modify your local system. First, you check out the inspection. Okay, then do some modification with respect to your print and see where I have modified and see modification. Just do them in the permanent file. That's what you have to do in doing the modification. Everything you need to write down since already available through Google. So this is over. The next thing is I want to create a student directly from my page. But this is also completed. This is also completed. Now I want to insert data directly into my student database. Second thing is I am leaving insert my data directly into student database. Okay, let us come here. This is my application. Right? So I have created a page called Create Student. So I have given here. You can check it out in my index. So I have created a table called uh, create student. Okay, create student, and so when I click on that, the reference I going to a separate file. File name is create student info page. Okay, so the link to that file see if I click on that, it will go to a file called create student. Okay, see initially the student ID was not there. I have created a few guys. Okay, since student ID by default I have mentioned it as a auto increment. If you don't give auto increment will happen, but since I am not remove the auto increment, it means you cannot leave the primary key blank, right? It will give you an referential integrity or a unique integrity constraint violation or a primary key constraint violation will happen. So now I'm going to insert some values. Since one to I'm going to insert value here, some other name. Let's select my name itself and my email address and my phone number and my gender and my country. Okay, and you know that one thing I'm not passing here in my table, that is date time, right? So by default it is going to take the current timestamp. Okay, let us submit this. So it means I have created now one student. Okay, I have created one student. Check whether it is created or that. So previously my backend two, right? Student ID 1 and student ID 2. I want to check whether it is inserted, whether it is inserted or not. So first use PyAB. This is my database. Now in my PyAB, I'm going to select first, okay, star from CSE. Sorry, that is student, right? Student. I want to check whether my information is inserted or not. Okay, I have done modification into my, so I want to check whether it is reflected into backend or not. Yes, reflected. It is not reflected. So I check what problem maybe is there. So insert. Okay, let us see what is there. Okay, since it has not given any error. So see, little modification I trade. Okay, let us do this. So what are the things I am getting from here? That is 2K, no problem with that. So the problem here, email address. Okay, no problem with that. So this is ID what I am passing there. Okay, everything is fine. Let us come here into my model. Let us check the model. So email address I'm waiting there, and I'm trying to insert to email. No, no problem, no problem. Problem. Student ID, student name, email. Let us first check the description of my table. Uh, so it's an email, contact, gender, country, data. Okay. So table is 5AB. Student is my data. Okay. Simply what I do is I don't want to tell us. I'll make it as everything email. Here also. Okay. So I have given some default values. No problem with that. The into student. Okay. Very good. Now student ID is there. Okay, fine. Any mistake are done here? I don't think so. Okay, if problem is there, it will give me an error. Okay, this is just an term. Okay, country. Okay, fine. Done submission. So it should be post, and the post data is going to create. So let's say this. Okay, it means that a little problem in my email. That's why it's showing me an error. Can check it out here. Information has come. So since I had some issue with my, I got an error. So you can check it out easily now. So I have done modification in my front end that actually reflected into the back end. Okay. see, you can check it out now. So everything we got it. Okay, we completed even this aspect also now. See, we have created a page and we inserted directly data from the front end and if reflected in the back end also. We have checked it working perfectly. Okay. So there are a lot of other things. Any have took long time. Today I'm just going to close this session here only. So we'll take again 2 hour class and we'll finish as soon as possible all the necessary things. Since I have explained a lot of things like triggers, store procedures, and other things, it will take 1 hour or 2 hour. Okay, I'll take some time. I will complete this session. Is it okay now? ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಗೋದು. Okay, guys, what I do is still a lot of more things are there to explain. I want to show you what data triggers and why, how you can create a store procedures, how you can include in your application and all. Okay, so the time is not enough for me. Okay, guys, thank you for all.